spiritual practices have always been part of my life. Tapping was one of those things.
It helped you to overcome cancer yourself?
Yeah. Late 20s, I got diagnosed with quite a lot of things all at once in 1 year and had like a marriage breakup, and suddenly I was a single mother. So it was quite an awakening. My dad actually had quite a rare cancer, very young. I witnessed quite an amazing lifestyle growing up, sort of seeing him get the mindset sort of cope with terminal cancer. And part of that was doing quite a lot of these practices.
Before we jump into this episode, I'd love to invite you to join this candid spiritual community to hear more conversations that will help you become happier, healthier, and more healed. All I want you to do is click on that subscribe button because I love your support. I love seeing all the comments pouring through, all the love pouring through, and we're just getting started. I can't wait to go on this journey with you, whether you're a spiritual seeker or you're just curious about the topic. And we really hope that our conversations will provide you food for thought and inspiration for your own spiritual journey. So join us for honest, candid discussions about spirituality for soul's sake.
For soul's sake, for soul's sake.
Hello and welcome back to For Soul's Sake, a podcast in which we bring to you the best in wellness, the best in spirituality, the best in, today, rapid tapping. Today I'm sat with an incredible person, Poppy Delbridge. I'll read you a little bit about her. She's pretty cool. And I feel like the chemistry is already kind of percolating through the microphones. We've got a cool episode ahead of us. But she is a speaker, best-selling author, workshop leader. She works with teams, high performers worldwide, and provides transformational EFT tapping, which I don't know about yet, but we're going to find out, I assume, and successful coaching. She offers private retreats, residencies, bespoke one-to-one programs for personal and business vision alignment. And I'm deeply grateful to be sat with you today. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
Was that, I don't know if that introduction was like...
I liked it.
Right.
I especially liked how you said my name, Poppy Delbridge.
Is it Delbridge?
Yeah.
Sometimes I get it wrong.
I liked it.
Yeah.
It sounded very exotic.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll work on making sure that all the guests we have in are exotically pronounced as well.
Yes.
Tell me about EFT tapping. I haven't got a clue. I'm a newbie. I don't know anything about tapping. So tell me where that kind of started for you. But more so, I want to know the technique and where you learned that from.
Yes. Well, it is safe to say that I am pretty obsessed with tapping. The name of my book is Tapping In. I've got rapid tapping as my approach. EFT tapping is where I first came to tapping.
What's EFT?
So emotional freedom techniques.
Okay.
So it's an important word, emotion, in it, because you're kind of working with your emotions. It's a bit like I think it's like an active meditation in the sense that you work with your emotions and your thoughts. And you're tapping on particular energy points, mostly on the face and the upper body, whilst you're using particular words and phrases and emotions and sort of allowing yourself to acknowledge those, accept those, maybe affirm something different around what you want to believe. So we call it a somatic practice, we call it a mind-body practice, we call it energy psychology. So that's my expertise. I've been doing this for maybe about 15 years, so quite a long time.
Wow.
Yeah, it kind of...
Before it was a book.
Yeah, before it was a book.
Before it was a best-selling book.
I'd say so.
Yeah.
Yeah. My parents were actually into it. So they were early adopters of it. And it's still not that well known, tapping, generally, I would say.
I've seen it in a few videos.
Yeah.
And I know of people that are doing or have done it.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of one person in particular, but I won't say his name out loud. But it feels like it's on the cusp of being very popular and being used in many different... I mean, you can tell me more about what scenarios it's used in currently, but it feels like you're on the precipice of something.
Yeah, I'd hope so. I mean, I'm pretty active trying to get it out there, actually. And I've worked now with quite a few organisations. I mean, I've taken it into places like, leaders of the UN, like government. I've worked with places like British Fashion Council. I've taken it into quite a few, great places who've supported it. So when that starts to happen... I think then it sort of gets out a bit more and it becomes not weird and you go, oh, there's a lot of scope with it and it works. So there's a lot of science to it as well.
But you were brought up with it.
Yeah.
But you had to find your own way with it as well.
Yeah. My parents were quite into anything to do with spirituality, mindset and nutrition. So actually why I got into this is my dad actually had quite a rare cancer, very young.
Oh, really?
And
Sorry
I don't, thank you for that. But weirdly, I witnessed quite an amazing lifestyle growing up, sort of seeing him get the mindset to sort of cope with terminal cancer. And part of that was doing quite a lot of these practices. And so like spiritual practices have always been part of my life, and belief and faith and all of that. And tapping was one of those things. And then I sort of went away from it like any person does. Got into a different career in media, and then
some
really
cool shows you're telling me.
some cool shows. Loved that life, and then got into this, because it works. And now obviously I devote myself to literally this energy psychology, really, and helping people understand it, use it, democratize it. I'm a practitioner in it.
And it's helped you personally?
Oh, massively.
I mean, I did read as part of your bio that it helped you to overcome cancer yourself.
Yeah, it did. I got a diagnosis, and I had a bit of a health collapse, actually. Same kind of time as my dad did. So it gave me a big shock. Late 20s.
Late 20s, wow.
Yeah, late 20s. I got diagnosed with quite a lot of things all at once in 1 year, and had like a, marriage breakup, and suddenly I was a single mother with this massive job
20s.
in the media all at once.
Wow.
So it was quite an awakening, and that's literally what it was for me. And tapping was one of those things, but above all that, it was, I think, just coming into a connection of self and rerouting the way I thought, using my imagination, visualization, lots of mindset techniques to change the way I see things. So after that, I always knew there was something I would do.
Yeah.
And then I rediscovered tapping in a big way.
Tell me about it.
Much later. I just saw it and I witnessed it and I got it myself. And I had a fear of dogs, actually. Quite bad.
My son's got a fear. Well, actually, no, my son has and my daughter has.
She's scared of dogs.
She's scared of dogs.
And I think when you have a phobia, and this helps to sum up tapping, actually, there's nothing you can do because it's in your body at that point. It's a trauma. And so you start to sweat, or you start to get nervous, or you start to not sleep, or you start to, think about things in a certain way, and you sort of get wired to it. And it's very hard to break out of it at that point. And tapping actually allowed me to, now I have a dog, which was unheard of. Now I can go walking with dogs. I used to be kind of like, oh, there's a dog, there's a dog, there's a dog, without even thinking it. Just very automatic, like quick, stay away. And I thought, wow, this is an incredible technique. And that's what really made me go, hey, this works. And obviously you can use it for things, well, not obviously because you don't know, but let me tell you.
Tell me.
You can use it for loads of things. You can use it for deep trauma. You can use it for PTSD. I've worked with people who've been in the front line in Gaza, like serious trauma, and it works for that. It really helps to shift your emotional state when it's already in the body. So I work in quite a deep way with people, one-to-one. But you can use it for insomnia. You can use it for, just changing a habit. You can use it for saying new things to yourself and loosening up what you feel that you don't want to feel. So change your beliefs. So yeah, I got really into it, and then thought, it's not very accessible. That's the only thing I thought.
It feels like we're on the same sort of journey.
Yeah, I know. That's why I was like, it is really interesting.
Because the technique's different.
Yeah.
But mantra was tapping for me.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing. I was like, well, it's not very accessible, so how am I going to make it more accessible?
Right.
And where does it need to go, and who needs to practice it for it to be more accessible? Who does it need to serve, and who does it need to help and liberate and lift? Who does it need to do that for before it's accepted as a practice that really is bona fide? And I think that's interesting because we kind of go through cycles of, I'm a big believer in everything originated with our ancestors. And if you want a really cool new idea, read some really old books. Yeah. And I feel like they just cyclically come back around on themselves in different times, places, circumstances when they're needed.
Yes.
And I feel like, I don't know, because I've never done it, and I'm sure we're going to get a little guided tapping session.
Sure.
Should we call it that?
Yeah.
What do I call it?
Yeah, you can. I mean, we'll probably do rapid tapping today.
Rapid
because it's
tapping.
quick and it's that's the accessible one.
My cameraman, he's going to use this footage.
Rapid tapping.
He's going to use this footage on my birthday without any context. He's going to tell people that I'm into all sorts of stuff.
Yeah.
But I'm into it. It can be used for whatever it needs to be used.
Yeah, yeah. But it is a similar journey.
Yeah.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
Because you've done that with something that could feel a bit different and strange, or you'd need to go and do it in a particular environment with a particular person. I mean, I suppose my thing is, although I'm a practitioner of that, you know, you have to go quite deep sometimes with the tapping. I wouldn't advise to
Daily
just
practitioner?
go for it. So, daily practitioner, what do you mean?
It's like part of your every single day, you set time aside.
Oh, right, like daily practice.
Yeah.
So that's what rapid tapping is, yeah.
Oh.
So a practitioner in terms of, I suppose, I would work with, say, you one-to-one, or I'd work with a client one-to-one.
Okay,
I still do that now. I'm at the Savoy, so I do deep stuff there, deepy deep. I know I appear humorous, but I am quite deepy deep.
I love that.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yes, daily practice was the thing I thought was missing. The daily, you know, you're doing mantra. And actually, I think that's really interesting because I'm looking at beliefs very often, like statements of belief, and shifting those with the tapping. So it's quite interesting. And yourself.
This is going to get deep, this one.
Yeah, it might.
So tell me about the origins of tapping or EFT. EFT, remind me again?
Emotional freedom techniques.
Freedom techniques.
Yes.
EFT tapping.
EFT
Emotional
tapping.
freedom techniques tapping. Okay.
Yes.
So tell me about the origins, and I know where it came in your life through your parents, but what's the origins of the practice and the science?
So really interesting because it started up in 1980.
Okay.
There's a doctor in America, psychologist, Dr. Callahan.
Dr. Callahan.
Callahan, yeah.
Callahan.
And he was interested in working with his clients in a new way.
Okay.
So like you said about going back into different eras and looking at everything, I do that too. You know, and we come back around to that, like the old books, I'm a real fan. Like that's what happened to me when I had that whole collapse. I just read a lot of those.
Oh, really?
And Dr. Callahan in 1980 was interested in sort of Eastern techniques. And one of the ones that he liked was acupressure.
Oh, right.
So
okay.
literally tapping. And of course, people have been tapping for years. You know, I looked into this when I was writing the book and you kind of go, oh, wow, you know, since like 5000 BC, there's like people tapping on their body for health. You know, acupuncture is for health.
Really? 5000 BC?
Yeah. So it's really interesting that we tend to do it, like even now, like we pat our children, we pat dogs.
It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah.
You know, I believe that it's like a heartbeat on one level. And that's the somatic level. That's the physicality of it. And that's linked to meridian lines, which, you know, in acupuncture, you know, is a sort of invisible pathway that we have at our disposal, and that can stagnate. That's a concept that it originally came from. And this guy, Dr. Callahan, originally started using it, and he called it thought field therapy.
Thought field.
Thought field.
Field.
Yeah.
Thought field
yeah,
therapy.
TFT. And he was interested in particular body responses, so more about, you know, if you tapped under your eye, which could be related to the stomach meridian, does that have any benefit, you know, to heal? With words, so psychologist. So this energy psychology field was created. And so it's relatively new. However, after then, it's been, a student of his actually simplified it into what we know as EFT tapping. And it became one sequence that you use with different techniques. So I still use that a lot. I love it. I think it's great for specific issues, you know, like phobias or specific trauma. And then I think it's coming in now to popular opinion because there's been some studies since on that saying that it can reduce anxiety, depression, overwhelm, and cravings and things like this.
I was just about to say addictions and cravings.
Addictions and cravings.
Wow, that's a big application.
Big. And of course, when you start to do that, you change your belief about yourself, your potential. I love working with people who are already, in its loosest term, successful on paper, but then you kind of think,
tapping into the next level.
Yeah. And that involves an identity shift often, perception change.
What do you mean?
Moving limiting beliefs about yourself.
Limiting beliefs.
So if you think, I can't do that, I'm not very good at that. If you keep saying that over and over again, you're just wiring the same things in from yesterday.
Yeah, I used to be really scared about telling people what my dreams were. And I think that it was subconsciously limiting the beliefs that I felt that were possible in this lifetime. Now I'm really honest. If someone tells me, what's your dream? I'll tell them.
Yeah.
I mean, no one's asking, but...
What's your dream?
Dream is I would love to one day make mantra a household practice. I'd love to win a Grammy personally. And I'd love to see mantra as a practice adopted by many thousands of people as a way in which people can access the divine. And I say three ways. The self, the true self, source, divinity, God, whatever name you give that, and service. So mantra as a means to unlock the true self, source, and devotional service. And so that's the dream.
I love that.
What's your dream?
I love that you call it God source.
Yeah.
In my book, I call it God source energy.
Is it?
Yeah. Because,
not HP source, by the way.
Yeah, God source. That's quite good, isn't it? Quite fun. Yeah, I love that. That's such a lovely dream. And I think you're already kind of doing that, right?
Yeah.
So then, if you looked at that and you started to use visualization in a particular way, which is what I did when I actually had that collapse.
Mid-20s.
Late 20s. I started to rebuild things in a metaphysical way. So I started to think about what I wanted, what it would look like, the vision of it. It's quite a lot of micro-visualisation in what I do. So I'm interested in your vision and the Grammy especially. How would that feel if you won it?
I'd feel a sense of great accomplishment because it's, even though I know it's made up, it's a human-made accolade, I still think it holds a lot of gravity and weight in the music industry, accepting this as a genre of music or, a genre of music that, it's now accepted as a genre of music.
Yeah.
As opposed to being alternative.
Yes.
No, it's mainstream.
Yes.
I love that.
Your impact
Yeah.
is connected then.
And even if it's not me, I'm okay for that in one sense. I think I'm okay with it. But I'd love to be part of the journey of the person that does that.
Yeah.
So I'm okay with it in some sense not being me.
Yeah. Yeah. So then I would say, why not you?
That's a limiting belief, I guess, in one sense. But I think there's just too many variables. Like say tomorrow my voice goes, or say my kids need me more, or say, financially it's just not working sustainable anymore, then I wouldn't be able to give it the amount of time I'm giving it right now. Yeah, I feel like there's too much, fine alignment of things right now. So everything's flowing. And I'm grateful for it. And I'm conscious that it's happening like that. But if any of those gravy trains stopped, I think it would be harder. It wouldn't be impossible. It'd just be harder.
Yeah, yeah. Got it. So if you said, for example, now, I've won a Grammy and I feel a certain emotion, what would you say? What would be the emotion?
I'm picturing it.
Yeah, exactly.
I just feel an overwhelm of gratitude to my teachers and to my mom, to my wife, to my dad. I just feel an overwhelm of this feeling of it's taken a village to get to this point.
Yeah.
So
that's lovely.
Yeah.
And so and then going back to that allows you to then connect to that often. And then how I would say use rapid tapping, which is more that, is you'd give it a score out of 100. How much do you believe it right now? That which you've just
Like
done.
98.
Yeah.
90%.
Yeah. So then you keep it and then we like tap the gap. And you know, some days that might be
Tap
low
the gap.
and sometimes that might be high. But you tap the gap, right? So you go.
Tell me. What does tap
well,
the gap
like,
mean?
for example, why is it not 100%? What is it? Like, I've identified a little bit of it, which is time.
Yeah.
You know, there's some variables, you know. But what else? What's the other bit?
I guess it's a fear that things won't happen.
Yeah. So then I would be like, right, I mean, this is what I would be doing with you.
Yeah.
We're doing it, aren't we?
All right, that's it.
So, you know, you would go here.
Yeah.
And this is called the 3-step. So you have 3 A's. 1, acknowledge any fear.
Okay.
2, just accept it because it's logical in some way as a human being,
Okay.
as a human.
What are you doing, by the way? You're placing
So yeah,
two.
sorry. So we kind of do a like hand on top of the other hand on heart.
Doesn't matter which hand or
No,
which
it doesn't
hand?
matter which.
All right.
You might start just by tapping there, like a butterfly tap.
It's almost like I'm
Do that.
consoling myself.
I know, it's quite nice.
All right, like a butterfly.
You might take a
tap.
breath here, so in through the nose and out through the mouth. And then you would push where your fingertips are into what I would call the sore spots. So they are a little tender if you found them correctly, like a lymph, like a little neurolymphatic switch. And this calms you down anyway. So it's quite nice for your nervous system. So then we might say, acknowledge it, accept it, affirm it. So I feel some fear. So you might say that. So say that out loud and see.
I feel some fear.
Yeah, because... Tell me why.
At any moment, I have to acknowledge that I'm not in control.
Nice. Yeah. So just take another breath. And then say, but it is possible for me.
But it is possible for me
to receive this Grammy.
To receive this Grammy.
And then close your eyes and just take yourself to what you visualized, receiving that and the impact that it'll make, and all the thanks to all the ancestors and everything that you've put out there in the world. And then open up your eyes.
I'm going to get that Grammy right now.
Should we go? Let's go. Yeah. And then, you know, you would do a bit more, and it depends on what the score is for any particular goal in a way. But it's a powerful practice when you get going with the tapping and the psychology of what we feel as human beings. Yeah.
I'll be dead honest. I don't yet feel convinced about the tapping, but I do feel convinced that exercise of what you just brought me through was powerful enough for me to just affirm something in my life. Mm-hmm. And it's weird, like we have to do this in front of cameras for me to be able to sit down and do this.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, I don't know, I would never pick up the phone to you and say, hey, Poppy, I'm going through this, this and this.
Yeah.
Tell me what to do.
True.
But that has, divine arrangement or not, it's manifested now. And if you're someone that's watching this and feels like you have a particular dream that is what do we say? There are stumbling blocks along that way. Then just rewind this podcast by 2-3 minutes.
Yeah.
And with Poppy's voice guiding us through some of the prompts. Can you go through some of the prompts again? What were the prompts that you told me?
Yeah. So I feel. And then you would allow that and acknowledge that to be.
Yeah.
You would then say, because. So you'd give your brain a logical reason to just go, okay, and you'd accept it. So you're not fighting.
Yep.
And wasting energy on it. And then you'd go, but it is possible for me to, and then
say what the dream is.
That dream.
Tell us in the comment section, if you did it, how it went for you.
Yeah.
Cool. I'm going to segue a little bit.
Yeah, nice.
You've got a little one.
Yeah.
Little one or ones?
Very old.
Very old ones.
Yeah.
Now?
One. Yeah.
1 year old?
No, one child.
One child. In their teens?
Yes. And not a lot of people know that I have one quite old child.
Is it?
Yeah, so I had him like all the way through my careers.
What does he think about mum's journey, and does he adopt the same? Because a lot of people that watch this podcast, they either have a set of beliefs and are trying to either convince their family that it's okay, or they have a family that's very supportive, or they have a child that maybe doesn't quite align with what they're feeling. How does it? I just want to know, how does it fit? How does it fit in for you, and how does he see your practice, or she see your practice, or they see your practice? I don't know.
Yeah, he actually has his own practice.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
That works.
He's far more into meditation than me.
Really?
Yeah. he is very good at, he's kind of a stoic, I'd say, actually.
So
And
into like Aristotle and Plato.
yeah.
Stoicism.
He's often my biggest teacher, and I really believe that about our children.
Deep guy.
Very deep.
Deep.
He's a deep one.
Deep. Oh.
Yeah, he's a definite deep. Yeah, and it's great. I've just spoken to him actually earlier. Just before I went in, he said, "Oh, what podcast are you doing, Mum?"
Yeah.
So I said, he said, "Oh." I said, "I don't know what he's written."
Oh,
I said,
really?
"Go and have a look. I think you'll like this." And I think it's just what I've learned anyway. I don't know if it's the same for you. Is that you just have to have your children have to have their own thing. But I believe that your children live up to or down to what you tell them is possible.
Your children live up to or down to what you tell them is possible. That's deep.
And that's always kind of what I try and keep in my head. And I have tried to keep in my head, even when you're like, oh. Because the words that you say are really
so
your
important.
wand or weapon, right? So you've got
definitely.
to be on it with not just your children, I think, but with others and just whatever you can do.
Yeah. Here's a weird one, and maybe it's a complete segue, but it's going down the kids' route. As a child, my parents weren't the compliment giving type. It's a very common thing in the Indian culture. And that has made me into an individual that's constantly, I wouldn't say constantly, but very heavily people pleasing. And I do want to make sure that I'm someone in this world, because that was, wasn't given to me as a child.
Yeah.
The converse is now with me and my children. I've got two, a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old. And I very often, on the way to school, I'm just telling them, like, you're going to be a brave boy. You're going to learn something today. We're going to have a great day, aren't we? We're going to have a really cool day. You're going to make loads of cool new friends. And Gita, are you going to have fun with Dolly? Yeah. And, they just get pumped up on the way to school. I know that you're into manifestation as well. As part of your bio, I read that. When it comes to, like you were just talking about, streamlining thought with our children, is there any advice that you'd like to offer to parents, being someone that really does believe in the power of manifestation?
Yeah, I love that. I love that spin-off, because I think often we think that we have to not say our children can create things. So I love that you're doing that.
Yeah.
Because if they hear it from you, they're going to trust your voice more. And we're the same with our subconscious mind. So we've got the conscious mind where we think things and say things. And we've got the subconscious mind, which is the storehouse of everything, right?
Yeah.
And if we don't pay attention to that for ourselves first, I think it's harder to do it with your kids. But what I would say with your kids is practice something that is a very simple 3-step like we just did. Allow them to acknowledge something as they feel it. So how do you feel? And even if they say, I feel tired today, what I have found quite useful with people, I'm working with people and their kids a little bit, but mainly the parents over the years, is if you allow them to say it and then you say because, like if you just give them a reason, like because something's annoying me at school, or because this is really hard, because I didn't, and you allow them to say that first, then you say, okay, so what's possible? So they have a choice. It's like, oh, so what's possible? But what's possible? So you're tired and Harry doesn't like you, but what's possible today? Then usually they will give you an answer. And when they give you an answer, it's way more powerful. Like being a coach, which is what I also am. It's so more powerful to just let someone come up with it themselves, even though you have to like shut your mouth and be like, no, you don't want to say it. It comes from within, so it's got the power.
Yeah.
And then you're doing your own, you trust your own voice. So I really encourage also to say things out loud. Yeah. So that's what, I would say to that question.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
And you can rewrite that and overwrite that at any point. It doesn't take the same length of time that you've had a belief to overwrite a belief.
Wow. That's true. It takes way longer to affirm a belief than to change a belief.
Yeah, it's just like, it can change very quickly.
Yeah. So
you
true.
see the proof, you're like, ooh, okay.
Who's the coolest person that's doing EFT tapping right now?
Oh my goodness.
Who's like the celebrity? Is it you? Are you the icon?
British Vogue called me the celebrity tapper, actually. But I didn't know what it meant. I didn't know if it meant I work with celebrities, which I do, quite a lot of them.
Are you allowed to tell us any?
No.
I thought it was going to be an exclusive for Soul Sake here.
I'm quite discreet.
Okay.
This is my deep stuff.
Yeah. But there's a lot of celebs doing it, aren't there?
There are. It's getting there. Well, sort of, yeah. I mean, I used to work in, Hollywood realm because I worked, in my big boss was sort of Warner Brothers. That's my salary came there for another company here. So that was kind of my world. So I know the world and I know it's quite hard. When you are a celebrity, if we're going to go there, you've got, a lot of pressure on you. You've got a lot of stuff happening. You're about to go on stages. You're knackered. That is very, very interesting work to me, to allow people to use their words in a correct way. A bit like, with mantra, it's like affirmation, I suppose, I'm using with the somatic tapping as a technique to use. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. But I'd like to be, like you, the person who does make a real change in this energy psychology world, for sure.
Yeah.
With manifestation and mindset and spiritual strategies for life.
Spiritual strategies?
Yeah.
Tell me, what's a spiritual strategy?
I think a lot of people are taught to push really hard in life to get success, right?
Hell yeah.
You know how that is. And so what happens is our nervous system gets really exhausted and you can really crash. But you also get used to having to work hard to create a payoff. So you think you haven't really achieved something unless you've worked hard or it's taken you time or this, that and the other. And that can get really hard to keep up with. So when you look at it through, I suppose, an energy lens, where you look at your thoughts, where you look at the things you already have at your disposal, where you look at things like contribution, where you look at things on a more spiritual level, then you're pulling things towards you rather than pushing things. And it doesn't mean that you don't work. You have to take action, because I'm working with really, action-taking leaders quite a lot of the time, CEOs and stuff like that. And, you can't tell someone like that to slow down. It's just not going to work. So if you adopt a more spiritual, strategic route and you look at energy work in general, and what I would call spiritual strategies, then, wow, you can really notch up a level without really changing much in terms of their actual business or strategy itself. It's just their own strategy for life. Do you know what I mean by that? Does that make sense?
It does make sense.
Yeah.
I want to do some tapping.
Yeah, okay.
Should we do this for the viewers as well? Tell us, you guide us through it. Tell me how to say it. Tell me what I need to do.
Okay, we can tap along.
Yeah.
We'll do a simple
tap
one.
Along. All right.
So let's do just the idea of frequency, right?
Okay.
What does frequency mean to you? How would you describe it, actually?
Frequency is a tuning of different sound waves emitted at different... I'm spitting from the hip here.
Yeah.
An emittance of different sound waves at different tones. I don't know how to say it any better than that.
Yeah.
That's a really crap definition.
No, it's good.
Hey
It's
Siri,
sound.
what is a frequency?
Do you want me to use ChatGPT to answer that?
Sure.
A frequency refers to the number of times a repeating event occurs per unit of time. It is commonly measured in hertz, where 1 hertz equals 1 cycle per
That's
second.
enough for you, mate.
In every
But
Yeah.
I get it.
Basically, you got that for sound.
yeah,
If you think about that, and you think about us as energy, which
Yeah.
we are,
Yeah.
and you think about us as a vibration, you think about frequency as the sort of amount that the frequency is how quickly that vibrates
Yeah.
with anything.
yeah.
So you could think of frequency as like just a combination of your thoughts and feelings. That's how I would define it.
How
Your thoughts
regularly?
and feelings, and how high that is in a high frequency, or how low that is, low frequency. And it's usually like, if it's low, you're in despair, and if it's high, you're feeling like bliss, joy.
Okay.
Yeah. And we know that's better for you in so many ways, even health, when you're up higher. So the idea is that if you're doing a bit of tapping with me, we're looking at being really honest about where we're at on that scale.
Okay.
From, let's say, despair. Don't want to pretend you're not in despair, but we do want to intend that we can go a bit higher by doing some tapping and saying some words.
I'm in.
Yeah. So we'll do that. So frequency scale. If you were to just think now, and sometimes this is like, you know, you'll get stressed, right? Mm-hmm. You're zipping around all over the place.
Yep.
I know you're on flights, like long things, you're just like zipping about. So, you know, that can actually affect your frequency. Doesn't mean it has to be super high all the time. You know, when you're in mantra mode, like doing your thing. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it can be low and that's fine. Mm-hmm. So just have a guess now about what it is. Say it could be...
On a scale of numbers? Or
Yeah, like, so you might have, you know, +10 at the top, full of joy, and you might have 0, like, meh, I'm okay. And then you might be in the minuses, which is just like, actually, I'm really busy, I'm really whatever, I'm tired, and that can be down to -10.
Okay, I've got it.
So what are you?
About a 4 or 5 right now.
Yeah, nice. And what emotion would you call it, 4 or 5?
Pleasant, happy, satisfied.
Yeah, nice. That's good. So then we would like to go a little bit higher with that.
Okay.
Right? So what would you like to feel like?
No more than a 6 or a 7, I'd say.
Why?
I don't feel particularly in the mood for ecstatic right now. You see me jumping and dancing around the room.
Great. So we're going to go up a couple of notches.
Couple of notches should do
Couple
me.
of notches is
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
Okay, good. So we'll go back where we started.
All right.
And we'll just be here. So we'll hand on top of the other hand
Yep.
for those listening. And then you can just do a simple little tap like that. And of course, everyone else, you can just do this and just have your own frequency number, just your own guess. It should go up by the end of it. It's never gone down. And then do that push that I did. So push in to the sore spots with where you are. You got it. This is just like getting you in the vibe for the little tap through.
He's get that content. I knew it. He's going to use that on my birthday. I know it.
Yeah,
No
it could look
context.
funny out of context.
Right.
But stay with it.
When the right music.
Just as long as you tag rapid tapping.
Okay.
This is my little baby.
This is your baby.
I want everyone to do this.
Everyone will
because
be doing it.
honestly, if you do this every day, like a few times a day, like the people I've worked with are like, it's literally, they've just gone from being really anxious and really stressed. And you know, we like do this for a living. So we're keeping ourselves topped up, but it is actually really, really helpful if you are feeling a bit anxious or a bit like, oh my goodness. Yeah.
So
So push down
permission
here.
to everyone that's listening, get stuck in.
Yeah, get stuck in. So take a deep breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. That's good. And then we'll just say a few things again. Okay. So I feel, and then just say what you feel.
Out loud.
Yeah.
Happy.
Yeah. Because
my family are well, my service is well, my connection to God could be better, but it's well.
yeah, nice. Okay. And so it is possible for me
It is possible for me
to feel even more. And tell me.
Grateful for what's been given to me.
Nice. So take another breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. Good. And then we're going to take our hands now and do a little tap. So 2 hands, and you kind of can use all your fingers. It doesn't really matter, but you're going to be tapping, first of all, here. So in between on the eyebrows, in between. That's it. And just take a breath and let it go. And just for you, we're going to say, I feel grateful.
I feel grateful.
Yeah, and then keep moving continuously. You can have your eyes open and then go to the side of the eye and just say that again, actually. I feel grateful.
I feel grateful.
Yeah, and then we kind of flutter under the eye like this. Yeah, up and down. And then you can say, you know, I'm interested. Are you feeling like absolutely brilliantly positive, or is there anything that is like taking up attention?
I guess a little tiredness is there, but apart from that, yeah, pretty positive.
Yeah. So let's just acknowledge that because it's useful.
Okay.
So all this tiredness
All this tiredness
that I have, and then under the nose, take a deep breath. I'm still grateful.
I'm still grateful.
And then under the chin, say, and I can be more energized.
and I could be more energized.
Is that true?
Yeah?
Yeah. Okay. And then under, we sort of like do that and then get back down to here. So we're in the heart and collarbones. So you do like little circles. And then you can do a lot more, but this is just a little quick demo. And then you can just take another deep breath. Just say, I feel grateful.
I feel grateful.
I can feel energized.
I could feel energized.
Yeah. And now we're going to do a head hug. So you rub your hands together, get some energy going in your body. If we were standing, we'd do a couple of little moves.
Okay.
But you don't need to. And just do that thing where you close your eyes and you think about your Grammy win, if you like. Think about your family and the reactions and all the service.
There you go.
And then we're going to do a head hug. So one hand on the forehead and one hand on the back. I'll count you down.
Okay,
I'll do a 3, 2, 1.
I need to see you do it.
And then you'll just hold, okay?
Right.
And you'll just kind of feel a nice tingle.
Okay.
Right, 3. Are you ready?
Yep.
3, 2, 1, and hold.
Oh, yeah.
And take a breath. And then kind of shake out your hands, and then that's a little demo.
Wow.
How do you feel? So now
that bit
check
was
it.
really cool.
Yeah.
I felt really self-conscious with like doing this with cameras. I was trying to be as sincere as I could, but then this kind of was really nice, and the visualization.
Yes. Yes. And so then, if you look at your frequency now, you know, has it gone up like a notch?
I feel more alert.
Yeah.
And I feel more conscious, and I feel, it's hard for me to say if I feel I've gone up a notch. I'll do it in private without all the cameras facing me. I'll rewind it and do it again, and I'll tell you then. I'll drop it in the comments.
Yeah. Yeah. But if you feel more alert, great, because that's literally...
I mean, I feel less tired.
That's literally good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you see how it kind of just works, like just quick. It's very quick. And it just kind of works with your body.
I can imagine like something like this would be really useful, like backstage before I go on.
It's really good. I do a lot of work with people backstage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't really get nervous anymore, so that's not an issue. But I do always want to give the peak performance. Like that's what I don't get nervous. That's not my issue. It's just how do I give my best in this moment for the next 2 hours?
That's right. Yeah. So it could be a useful little thing. Give you a little useful one later to do before.
Should we do a little quick fire round?
Yeah. Let's go.
Okay, quick fire round.
Yeah. Okay.
What's the best advice, spiritual advice that you've ever received?
Your thoughts become things.
What's the worst spiritual advice you've ever received?
Slow down.
I love that. We could do a whole episode on spirituality not being slow. That's deep. Deep. Something special about your partnership and your learnings with tapping.
It feels like a bit of a calling for me, which means I can sort of, well, which I did was change my life completely in order to do it.
Something people misunderstand about you.
I think a lot of people think I'm very sciencey because I like proven things, evidence-based stuff. But I'm very spiritual and always have been.
Last one. If you could create one law that everyone in the world had to follow, I think you've already got the answer, haven't you?
Don't know.
If you create one law that everyone had to follow, what would it be?
Well, do you know what? The actual thing I thought about was actually, I think I'd create a law that was, you had to know you're all connected. So sort of the law, an actual spiritual law of oneness. Because the thing about actual laws is you don't have to follow them, really. But if you know the other ones, then they're quite useful for you and for everyone else.
Beautiful. Tapping in, Poppy Delbridge, out in bookstores?
Yes.
Where can I get a copy? Everywhere.
All good bookstores.
All the bookstores.
All the good bookstores.
Yeah.
Or my website.
What's
It's
your
got all of
website?
them. PoppyDelbridge.com.
Check her out there.
Yeah.
It's been an honour and
Thank
privilege.
you.
You've come all the way from Cornwall. You're
Well,
absolutely
no, I
superstar.
don't live there actually.
What were you doing there?
I just took away.
I'm trying to get the celebrity name out.
Just took a load of celebrities down there. No, I was celebrating a birthday of my beloved.
Oh, nice.
Yes, it was a
Congratulations.
surprise.
Amazing.
So it was very nice for him.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Now you're in London. You live in London?
I do.
Okay, cool. Where can people catch you at an event soon? Are you doing anything live?
Yeah, so I don't do loads live actually anymore, but I do have a residency at the Savoy. People want to come and see me.
How often? How regularly?
I am not there. I'm kind of just it's a kind of
Catch you when you can.
wait-listy thing, because it is quite booked because I can't do it all day long.
Cool.
But I am there, and you can find out about it on the website.
On a good old webpage.
Yeah. Or I'll tell you what is good is just download my app. Didn't talk about that. I have an app called Rapid Tapping, and you can do it all there.
Boom.
Yeah.
Wherever you catch Poppy, please do catch her.
Catch me.
Tapping in soon. Thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed this episode, feel full permission to rewind, watch it again, send it to a friend, drop a comment on what you felt was the most profound moment for you. Did you try the exercise with us? What happened for you? Did your frequency increase? Drop all that in the comments below, and I can't wait to see you on the next episode of For Soul's Sake. Thanks, Poppy.
Yay. Thanks.
Peace.
If you love this episode, you'll love my interview with Mimi Icon on mindfulness to manifestation. Check it out.
So I had this panic attack and I thought I was dying. So I go to my teacher and I'm like, I think I'm having a heart attack. Like, I'm so scared. And he's like, well, if you do, we'll call 911. This is back in Toronto. I was living in Toronto at the time. He's like, Mimi, you cannot run away from yourself. It's a panic attack, most likely. Like, now go back into meditation and sit through it and watch it. Any emotional reaction is like a storm. Like, it has a beginning, a middle, and an end.